if they really are going to be little green men, I really thought they'd be made out of broccoli.
Shut up. Good morning, Skallywag's. I'm Spoo.
And I'm Danny. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hey. Today we're going to be talking about little green men.
Yeah, you know, we have this running thing where, you know, we've done ghosts, we've done Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster. Well, today we're tackling UFOs and aliens.
Take it down. It's kind of becoming like an every other week thing, I think. So that may be a trend. Who knows? But yeah. So today we're going to be looking at some of the opening up the debate of aliens and UFOs. Are they real? Are they not? Do they exist? Are they? What are they?
Again, guys, remember this is all our own opinions, and you can formulate your own.
This is the starting of a conversation.
Yes.
Or as we like to say, I'm stealing this quote, but moving at the speed of conversation.
I love that
quote. Yes. So I'm going to kick things off today. What sparked this whole ordeal was the hacking group Anonymous came out earlier this week saying that NASA is on the verge of announcing the existence of extraterrestrial life. Now they're getting this from the lead scientist at NASA, Thomas Zurbuchen, and I'm hoping I'm saying that right. We are not.
We butcher names pretty good.
It's all coming from things that he had said in something that he released here recently. Now he was basically going on to say that they do have a lot of different. There are programs that NASA has going on that is looking for extraterrestrial life. They're also looking for other Earth-like planets and other solar systems. You know, things that could support life, things like that. Now, granted, this is things that would support human life, so that doesn't necessarily make sense to me on cases of that, because, I mean, let's face it. I mean, they say that they believe that there is a silicone-based life form out there, but all we know of is carbon-based life forms, but who's to say that there's not a completely different table of elements on a different planet? I mean,
yeah,
you never know.
The universe is full of an infinite amount of space with almost an infinite number of possibilities and planets. And one of the biggest things that I've always come to conclude is Jeff Goldblum's character from Jurassic Park. Life finds a way.
And the way that I always like to put it out there, I know the debate over whether or not aliens exist is an age-old tale. I mean, you can go back to the earliest artwork, the Sumerians, I believe it's the earliest artwork found on the planet, and even their artwork had what looks like modern-day rocket ships in it. I mean, this was centuries, thousands of years before.
Yeah, and to progress even further, there are temples in Egypt that show cuneiform writings and pictographs of what many people believe to be jet planes and or rocket ships.
The Egyptians were really big into a lot of different things. I mean, they were big into the existence of other life. And then when you go into looking at, you know, the pyramids and Cairo and Mars and all that type of stuff, the astronomy in general, there's a lot. This is something that we could literally go on for hours on. And so, but we're going to give you just a couple of examples today and open it up for debate. And this is probably something that we'll revisit again in the pretty near future.
Yeah.
But
probably pretty often too.
Probably pretty often. But we figured ghosts, aliens, that type of the paranormal type of thing. We're gonna make this an every other week deal, and there will be multiple volumes of each one. So we will be seeing ghosts again. We will be seeing UFOs again. So what do we got?
Starting off, you know, back all the way into February of 1942, they had what they considered to be a miniature battle over L.A. The Battle of L.A., also known as the Great Los Angeles Air Raid, is a rumored enemy attack of subsequent anti-aircraft artillery barrage, which took place from late 24th of February to early 25th of February. So I don't know if they thought these were maybe Japanese aircraft that had made their way across the sea. Remember, this was right before Pearl Harbor, but it was it was the beginning times of World War II. The incident occurred less than 3 months out. Actually, it occurred less than 3 months after Pearl Harbor. So we were already there. Initially, the target of the aerial barrage was thought to be an attacking force from Japan, but speaking at a press conference shortly afterwards, Secretary of the Navy Frank Knox called the incident a false alarm. Newspapers at the time reported numerous speculations of cover-ups. There are photos out there of, and probably one of the biggest photo is of this, a lot of
all the
spotlights surrounding something in the sky, which has a UFO shape.
Definitely
I mean, it does. The event was nerve-wracking. Case of war nerves triggered by lost weather balloons and exacerbated by stray flares and shell bursts and adjoining battles.
Yeah, in other words, this is one of the first cases where they came out and said, "Oh no, it was just a weather balloon, some swamp gas or something."
It's going to be a repeating trend.
And that kind of became the thing, like a running gag for many, many, many years. Was anytime there was a UFO sighting, oh no, it was a weather balloon. Yeah, that's all it was. Yeah. Even though those are quite common and not, I mean, they're big, but they're not big enough to be shooting anti-aircraft stuff at from all sides and have it keep floating for.
So I mean, these were reported by not only military personnel, but you got to think their commanding officers were like, this is something unusual enough to warrant firing at. So
let's move on. Let's talk about the Phoenix Lights here. The Phoenix Lights. This is going all the way back to Thursday, March of 1997. There were two separate incidents that night, two major incidents that night, even though it kind of went on from like 7 o'clock until about 10 o'clock that night. So for over the course of several hours, there were thousands, and I do mean thousands, of sightings and basically there are two distinct events we've got. The first one, which was a triangular formation of lights seen to pass over the state, basically they actually saw an actual black shape of a V that had several glowing orbs or engine lights on it. The second was a several football field wide formation of lights that just kind of hovered over Phoenix for quite some time. They would later come out, the Air Force would come out and say, oh no, those were just flares on the second event. They've kind of gone back and forth over whether that's true. The governor of the state actually at first made light of the situation, saying that it was, that it wasn't an alien, it wasn't a UFO. He even made a joke out of it by having his press secretary dressed as an alien joining him on stage.
I remember that clip, I really do.
But about 10 years later, he would actually come back and say, I saw it too. And yes, it was what he described as very otherworldly.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the clip, guys, which we're going to show, it's enormous. I can't honestly think of any kind of military aircraft that would drop things. I understand of how flares work in the military, but these just
they don't just hang there for hours at a time.
They move.
Yeah. This is actually the second event. So this is the one where they are saying that this is just flares that are hovering in the sky. I don't know. I don't
buy the flare.
I mean, number one, it was described as being several football fields in width, so just absolutely enormous. Thousands of people caught this on camera, not only still frame but also video. Mm-hmm. It's also reappeared at least 2 or 3 times now. 2007 it reappeared, 2008, and I know again in 2015.
Yes.
So this is becoming kind of a recurring phenomenon.
Yeah.
In this area.
Again, not saying what it is or what it isn't, but
we're just giving you the facts on it and letting you guys decide what you think. What's next?
We talked about the Battle A. We talked about the Phoenix Lights, but the next one we've got, guys, is actually coming from documented U.S. Air Force personnel. This took place in Rendlesham Forest in the UK back in the 80s. A Colonel Charles Halt is claiming, and he actually told the British Broadcasting Company that he saw a unidentified object in the forest. And he's come forward in the last, the last 2 years to say not only did he see it, but he's got a statement from one of the radar operators at the Royal Air Force Base in Brentwaters that it was tracked. So this means that not only what he says happened, he has collaborating evidence saying that this thing was unidentified on a military radar.
And so here's kind of what the story behind this. This happened around 3 a.m. on December 26, 1980. A security patrol near the east gate of RAF Woodbridge saw lights apparently descending into nearby Rendlesham Forest. These lights have attributed by astronomers as a piece of natural debris as seeming up as a fireball over southern England at the time. However, when they got there, they saw, according to the memo, they saw what they described as a glowing object, metallic in appearance with colored lights. As they attempt to approach the object, it appeared to move through the trees, and the animals on a nearby farm just went absolutely nuts, went to a complete frenzy. One of the servicemen, a Jim Peniston, Sergeant Jim Peniston, later claimed to have encountered a craft of unknown origin while in the forest, although he was not mentioned at the time, and there is no corroboration from other witnesses. Shortly after 4 a.m., local police were called to the scene, but reported that the only lights they could see were from an Orford Nest lighthouse nearby that's some miles away to the coast. Now, on December 28th, just 2 days later, they actually went back there, they did radiation readings, and they saw another glowing light, basically just east of the site. You have the farm. There is a light that shines there. Further east of that, it's pretty much in a straight line. Further east of that, you've got the lighthouse that they mentioned, and this was somewhere in between.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, that's not the farm. We've got the farm right there. It's not the lighthouse. It's right out there. This thing is hovering between us and the farm.
Yep.
And so we've got their recorded audio here. So let's take a listen to that.
Seven tents there. 7 tents right here in the center? Each one of these trees that face into the blast, what we assume is a landing site, all have an abrasion facing in the same direction towards the center. That's interesting. Let's go around the circle here. There's a round abrasion on the tree about 3.5, 4 inches in diameter. It looks like it might be old, but strange, there's a crystalline pine sap that's come out that fast. 3 trees in the area, immediately adjacent to the site, within 10 feet of the suspected landing site. We're picking up heat reflection off the trees.
So there you have it. They're talking about radiation clicks on a meter that they're getting an abnormally high amount of background radiation. So that's kind of odd. Yeah.
Well, guys, that's going to kind of wrap it up for today. And like we said, this is something we'll definitely be revisiting in the pretty near future. So, give us some of your, some of the biggest ones that you've heard of out there. Put those in the comments below. Check us out on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. There's all the links there for you. And continue to comment, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff.
If you have personal stories too, we'd love to hear them. We'd love to read them. We'd love to see what you guys have had as well. But that kind of leads us to, what time it is.
You know what time it is.
Time for the Russian clip of the day.
Вот там все, из-под колеса убери. Вот, правильно думаешь. Ой, блядь. Вот.